Taylor Swift addressed the public reaction to her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, amid widespread discussion and a flurry of both praise and criticism. The album, released on October 3rd, quickly became the focus of conversation among fans, critics, and fellow artists, with opinions ranging from enthusiastic support to more critical takes about the album's artistic direction and themes. In interviews following the release, Swift acknowledged the divided response, emphasizing that she anticipated a range of views and welcomed the conversation. During her appearance on the Zane Lowe show, Swift explained that she wasn't discouraged by mixed reviews or online debates, instead suggesting that any mention of her name or her album during release week contributed to the project's momentum. She said that in her view, the fundamental rule of show business was simple. If people were talking about her or her album during its debut, that attention was ultimately beneficial. Swift added that she respected the fact that art was inherently subjective and that every listener was entitled to their own interpretation, insisting that she did not see herself as an arbiter of taste or meaning. She remarked that her role as an entertainer was to act as a mirror for her audience, allowing listeners to project their own experiences and emotions onto her music. Subscribe for more exclusive details from Taylor's interviews and behind-the-scenes access to her creative process. Swift's approach to the album was shaped by her collaboration with producers Max Martin and Shellback, both longtime creative partners who helped her craft a sound that felt both familiar and adventurous. She shared on Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast that the writing process for The Life of a Showgirl unfolded while she was on her record-breaking Eras tour, a period marked by intense travel, nightly performances, and encounters with fans from around the world. Swift described how the energy of the tour and the stories she heard from concertgoers inspired many of the song's lyrics and themes, infusing the project with a sense of spectacle and personal reflection. She explained that working on new material during the tour forced her to adapt her creative habits, often composing melodies backstage or jotting down lines in hotel rooms between shows. The collaborative atmosphere with Martin and Shellback, she said, allowed her to experiment with production styles and arrangement choices that pushed her sound in new directions. As the album's release approached, anticipation among fans ran high, with social media buzzing about possible influences, hidden messages, and connections to Swift's personal life. The excitement reached a fever pitch on release day, as listeners flocked to streaming platforms and record stores to experience the new collection for themselves. Within hours, fans began to share their favorite tracks and interpretations, naming specific songs as standouts and dissecting lyrics for clues about Swift's inspirations. Among those expressing support was Swift's fiancé, Travis Kelce, who publicly praised the album and shared his own favorite tracks, adding another layer of public interest to the project. Despite the wave of enthusiasm from her core fan base, some critics and online commentators argued that The Life of a Showgirl did not live up to its bold title or Swift's reputation for thematic growth. They suggested that the album's subject matter felt less mature than previous efforts, pointing to recurring motifs of fame, spectacle, and romantic turbulence. Swift, however, remained unfazed by these critiques, reiterating in interviews that she valued all forms of feedback and did not expect universal acclaim. She noted that every project she released had generated its own mix of praise and criticism, and that she had learned to embrace the conversation rather than avoid it. The initial commercial performance of The Life of a Showgirl, however, left no doubt about the album's massive impact. According to industry reports, the album sold over 3.4 million equivalent album units in its first week, shattering the modern-era record previously held by Adele's 25. This achievement was widely covered by Billboard, which highlighted Swift's dominance in both physical and digital sales, as well as her ability to mobilize fans on a global scale. The record-breaking numbers underscored Swift's status as one of the most commercially successful artists of her generation, a fact that even her toughest critics acknowledged. Subscribe to stay updated on music industry records and the stories behind chart-topping albums. In the face of both acclaim and skepticism, Swift maintained her focus on the bigger picture. She explained that her long-term goal was to build a legacy that would endure beyond any single project or review cycle. In discussions with journalists, Swift spoke candidly about her mindset as she approached each new album, describing a deliberate effort to create music that would stand the test of time. She said that she approached her work with a sense of permanence, aiming to contribute something meaningful to the larger canon of popular music. Swift noted that the theme of showmanship, central to the life of a showgirl, was inseparable from the experience of being a performer in the public eye. She reflected that the highs and lows, the applause and the criticism, were all essential elements of the showgirl persona she sought to embody. Swift explained that the album's concept drew on the theatricality of classic Las Vegas revues, Hollywood musicals, and the spectacle of her own era's tour performances. She described how she wanted the songs to evoke the sense of stepping onto a brightly lit stage, with all the vulnerability and excitement that entailed. For Swift, the process of making the life of a showgirl was both a personal and professional milestone, representing her commitment to artistic growth and her willingness to take creative risks. As she spoke about the album's themes, Swift was quick to credit her collaborators for their contributions, highlighting the trust and creative freedom she enjoyed while working with Martin and Shellback. She described their dynamic as one of mutual respect, with each member of the team encouraged to challenge the others and push beyond their comfort zones. Swift recounted how certain tracks on the album came together quickly, sparked by spontaneous ideas or late-night jam sessions, while others required weeks of refinement and revision. The result, she said, was a collection of songs that reflected the spirit of collaboration and the unpredictability of live performance. Swift's openness to feedback extended to her interactions with fans, whom she described as her most important critics. She acknowledged the passionate debates that erupted online in the days following the album's release, noting that she read both positive and negative comments with equal interest. Swift said that she valued the honesty of her fan base, even when their opinions diverged from her own intentions. She remarked that the conversation around her music was part of what made the experience of releasing an album so rewarding, as it fostered a sense of community and shared discovery. Reporters covering the album rollout observed that Swift's attitude toward criticism had evolved over the years, with the artist now displaying a greater sense of confidence and resilience. Industry insiders attributed this shift to Swift's growing experience and her track record of overcoming challenges, both personal and professional. They noted that Swift's willingness to engage with her audience and address tough questions head-on had become a hallmark of her public persona. As the life of a showgirl continued to dominate the charts, attention turned to the album's individual tracks and standout moments. Fans highlighted songs that showcased Swift's storytelling prowess and her knack for crafting memorable hooks. Critics singled out specific lyrics for their wit, vulnerability, or emotional resonance, sparking debates about the album's overall coherence and artistic vision. Swift, for her part, remained focused on the work itself, expressing gratitude for the ongoing dialogue and refusing to be distracted by external noise. Subscribe for deeper dives into songwriting, album analysis, and the stories behind the year's biggest releases. Behind the scenes, Swift's team worked tirelessly to support the album's launch, coordinating promotional appearances, digital releases, and exclusive content for fans. Swift participated in interviews with major media outlets, sharing insights into her creative process and the inspirations behind specific songs. She also engaged with fans on social media, responding to questions and sharing behind-the-scenes glimpses of her life on tour. The rollout included surprise performances, limited edition merchandise, and a series of music videos that expanded on the album's themes of performance and spectacle. Throughout it all, Swift maintained a sense of humor and perspective, often poking fun at herself and the sometimes chaotic nature of album promotion. Her interactions with Kelce, who continued to champion the album publicly, added a personal touch to the campaign and underscored the supportive relationship between the two. As the weeks went on, the life of a showgirl remained a fixture in headlines and trending topics, with fans and critics alike revisiting the album and reevaluating their initial impressions. Swift was asked during a follow-up interview how she balanced the demands of constant public scrutiny with her need for privacy and creative freedom. She replied that she had learned to compartmentalize, focusing on the process of making music rather than the inevitable scrutiny that followed. Swift said that she drew strength from her collaborators, her family, and her core group of friends, with experience teaching her to distinguish between constructive feedback and background noise. Swift's reflections on legacy were a recurring theme in her public statements, as she spoke of her desire to leave a lasting impact on both the industry and her audience. She described her career as a marathon rather than a sprint, emphasizing the importance of growth, reinvention, and authenticity. For Swift, each album represented a new chapter in an ongoing story, with the life of a showgirl standing as a testament to her resilience and adaptability. She expressed pride in the risks she had taken, both musically and personally, and encouraged other artists to embrace vulnerability as a source of strength. Reporters covering her career noted that Swift's influence extended far beyond her own releases, with her willingness to address difficult topics setting an example for others in the industry. Swift's comments on the role of criticism and public opinion resonated with fellow musicians, many of whom cited her as an inspiration for navigating the complexities of fame. As the conversation around the life of a showgirl continued, Swift remained a central figure in the cultural landscape, her every move scrutinized and analyzed by fans, critics, and industry insiders alike. The enduring appeal of her music, coupled with her candid approach to public life, ensured that she would remain a subject of fascination for years to come. Subscribe now for more exclusive interviews, music news, and in-depth profiles of today's most influential artists. Swift closed her round of interviews by reiterating her gratitude for the support she had received from collaborators, fans, and loved ones. She said that the experience of releasing the life of a showgirl had reminded her of the importance of community, creativity, and self-belief. Swift expressed hope that listeners would continue to find meaning and inspiration in her work, regardless of their individual opinions. She encouraged fans to embrace their own perspectives and to engage with art in a way that felt authentic to them. As she prepared to embark on the next phase of her career, Swift reflected on the lessons she had learned and the challenges she had overcome, expressing optimism for the future and a renewed commitment to her craft. The story of the life of a showgirl, with its mix of triumph and controversy, stood as a powerful example of the enduring power of music to provoke, unite, and inspire.